Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. What is it, Friday, August 20th? Summer's almost over. Could you believe it? Wow, the summer went fast. So, what a hell of a week for Joe Rogan, JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. I don't know if he's uploading a podcast today, but this week, wow, starting with Tuesday with Lex Friedman, one of my favorite regular Joe Rogan guests, the young guy who, the AI guy from MIT. He used to have a podcast. He has a podcast, very popular, by the way. He has over 1 million subscribers. He used to call it the AI, Artificial Intelligence Podcast, and now it's just Lex Friedman. He's super popular, and partly because of Joe, So, really great guy. Really enjoy his show. 3 hours long. They talked about a ton of stuff. I've already done a video on this. So, and then yesterday or the day before, they had Zuby, right? The rapper from Great Britain. Done another video. I did a video on him. Really interesting, fresh perspective. Real smart guy. Interesting. Talked about everything. Current events, the future, culture wars, woke culture, everything. COVID, unfortunately, I spent a lot of time on that. And then unbelievable. Yesterday, I still have I'm like an hour and 27 minutes in. Neil Blomkamp. Am I pronouncing his name right? The guy who did what is that, District 19 or District 14, right? Is that the name of the movie? Back in 2007. Remember, everyone was really high on that film. Well, anyway, he's got a new film out called Demonic, just released, about demonic possession. And it looks really good, but the critics hated it. I looked it up. They couldn't stand it. Anyway, let me show you a little bit of this guy. He is...
Yeah, it seems like the data would be quite slim.
And there's an Australian
such an interesting guy.
18 days and almost 19 days, but I don't.
They're talking about sleep deprivation.
It is really interesting when you think about the fact that they knew so little about human beings in 1964 comparatively, especially like medically. Yeah. Like if you needed to get a knee surgery in 1964, you were fucked.
Yeah.
They just butchered you. They bolted everything together, and it probably didn't hold up.
Yeah, using some kind of metal that was leaching, into the bone marrow. Like every part about it is just like lunacy. I mean, I also think, even 30 years out from now, or 60 years out from now, what we're doing now will be equally immense.
Oh yeah.
Like any kind of invasive surgery, like.
Gotta see it, man. So anyway, I've talked about how I feel about Joe Rogan. I've been there since the beginning, 2009, literally the very first podcast, Christmas Eve 2009, and I enjoyed it. It was with Brian Redband. You can actually go back and see it. Some of those older clips. I love his older shows. Joe said they sucked. I liked them. There's a certain charm to them. And Joe was like, he was a little bit different. So, obviously, he's older, more mature, sort of mature. Joe is, he gets the rap that he's immature, and he is, and he admits it too. He's kind of like this 54-year-old kid. So, I've listened to almost every single Joe Rogan podcast. No shit, right? So, I put it this way: I haven't missed a single minute of JRE in like 5 years. Like every minute, even all the MMA stuff. Even stuff I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in three things I'm not into: cars, hunting, like cooking shit. He doesn't do much on food, but once in a while. But really, like someone who's an owner of a restaurant, that's kind of boring to me. I have no interest in that. But I listen to it anyway because they always get into other things, and Joe is just amazing at that. He's great at conversation, and it doesn't matter what they do for a living. Like, for example, I always bring up the example of Mel Gibson. He had him on, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't like Mel Gibson at all. His public image, and then with the whole Passion of the Christ thing, and then he was kind of a dick, yelling at people. He was arrested and drunk. I just thought he was a dick. I didn't like him. Saw him on the podcast, just did a completely turnaround. Like he was such an awesome guy. But they didn't talk about they didn't talk about acting. They didn't talk about the shit that was happening in his life. They were talking about stem cells. Like it was weird. Like they didn't touch anything about, hey, this is Mel Gibson. You see what I mean? So Joe's very good at that. What I want to talk about now, real quick for a couple of minutes, is I'm being a little facetious here, but not really. Is Joe a nice guy or is he a dick? Okay. He's kind of both, all right? a lot of people say Joe's the nicest guy in the world. He's great, and he really is deep down. Joe is a mensch, you know. I mean, why do I listen to him? He's a really good guy. You know, he's very talented, very smart, has great guests, has the greatest podcast in the world, and all that. But he really is a good guy. However, he can be nasty. Here's Other thing. Joe goes, "Why do people on the left always come after me? Say I'm alt-right. I'm a liberal. I'm a progressive liberal." True, sort of, with many social issues, but you're always going after the left, Joe. What do you think? 3 people Joe hates with a passion. I mean, with a passion, and he's cruel with this. Bill de Blasio, the mayor from New York, Gavin Newsom, the governor in California, and finally, Joe Biden. And cruelty. I've done videos on this, and perhaps I'll put some clips in here. But he's not like, okay, you can take pokes at Joe Biden's policy or this or that. He goes low blow. He's always going about his age and that he's he's senile and like all that sort of bullshit stuff. And even during the election and the debate, I mean, it's ugly. It's gross. It's disgusting. Like a man in his position, you just sound like a real asshole, Joe, when you go after Joe Biden. And the same thing with Bill de Blasio. Like, he'll just say, like, he's a fucking idiot and more, like, with anger, too. And then lastly, Gavin Newsom. And he won't even call him by his first name. He goes, fucking Newsom. Like, Newsom is so into power. He's so into power. I mean, there's like this anger with Joe. I really don't know what it is. So I'm going to put a couple of clips in here to show you what I mean. But that's it. Is Joe Rogan a super nice guy, or is he a dick? Or is he a dick? He's both. All right. He is a comedian too. So, all right. By the way, he was supposed to have Hunter Biden on. And by the way, Mark Maron had Hunter Biden. Very good podcast. I'd recommend you listening to it. Very troubled man, intelligent, nice guy. But he is, he's a crackhead, right? Let's call a spade. And Joe doesn't pursue people. But he was actually going, he wanted to have Hunter Biden on, and Hunter refused. That was weird. That would have been good. All right. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. Peace, love, and understanding here on Tabor Talk. Is Joe a nice guy or a dick? Sort of kidding. All right.